Hello everybody, welcome to the I Am IT YouTube channel. My name is Shabazz Dan, as ever I am the IT Geek. Welcome back to another episode within my SC100 Microsoft Cybersecurity Architect Exam Topic series. This is a short topic this time, we're on topic 9. We've been focusing on sort of Microsoft 365 Defender for Microsoft 365 Defender for XDR. Remember in the demo we kind of had a look at the XDR portal and we also looked through sort of Secure Score as well. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of we're going back into the XDR pod, but we're going to look at how to onboard devices into Defender for Endpoint. So there's a couple of different ways we can do that. So I'll show all those different ways and all the options you have. But without further ado, let's get started with this episode. So as I said, this is a Microsoft Cybersecurity Architect exam topic series, which is SC100 exam. But this is topic 9, part 2. So we're coming to double figures in our topic. We've got 15 topics to cover in total. Topic 9 is designing security solutions for applications and data. Today we're going to cover design of Microsoft Defender 365 solutions. We're going to then design configuration operational practices for M365 and we'll do a demo as I mentioned. Let's talk about designing a Microsoft Defender 365 solution first of all. So obviously there's different aspects of Defender. It's called Defender XDR now. It used to be called Microsoft 365 Defender. Obviously it includes sort of Microsoft Defender vulnerability management. This is looking at sort of continuous asset visibility, giving intelligence on risk, sort of risk-based assessments and sort of built-in remediation tools. There's also sort of Entra sort of anti-protection and data loss and app governance as well. We then got sort of Defender for Endpoint, and this is going to gather signals from and protects devices used by your organization. You've got then Defender for Identity, which is part of XDR, and this is going to gather signals from servers running on Active Directory federated servers or Active Directory domain controllers. And it uses these sort of signals to protect your sort of hybrid identity environment, sort of including protecting against sort of hackers that use compromised accounts to move laterally across workstations in your on-premises environment. Then got Defender for Collaboration. We spoke about that in the last sort of episode. And this safeguards your organization against sort of malicious threats posted by sort of emails or posed by sort of email messages, link URLs, or sort of collaboration tools. It shares those signals resulting from these sort of activities with Microsoft 365 Defender, Exchange Online Protection, and is also integrated to provide end-to-end sort of protection for sort of incoming mails and attachments. Then got Defender for Cloud Apps, and it gathers signals from your organization's use of your sort of cloud SaaS apps and protects data flowing between your environment and your applications, including both sanctioned and unsanctioned cloud apps as well. You can also integrate M365 with Azure as well, so have this sort of identity protection Entra, which is going to evaluate risks data from billions of sort of sign-in attempts. So a very robust tool there. We've had a look at the portal already, XDR. But this is a little bit about the sort of again, it says Microsoft 365 Defender. It's now called XDR, which you saw in the last episode. And here we can see sort of an example of the incident. So we had a look at this in the portal as well earlier. So we kind of showed this in the last episode in the demo already. Let's talk about designing configuration and operational best practices or operational practices for M365 now. So let's talk about M365 deployment around identity and sort of device architecture. We're going to be looking at onboarding devices in the demo as well. First of all, you need to start by implementing the sort of starting point here, and these policies do not really require enrolling so many devices into sort of management. But you can see you can configure zero trust identity and sort of device access protection at that sort of starting point. So those sort of zero trust policies. And then you have sort of the next phase. Look at all those sort of device access policies which are there, and they kind of include sort of requiring multi-factor authentication, and requiring sort of approved apps, blocking clients that don't support modern authentication, looking at high-risk users and need to change the password, things like that, and policies that force their users to change their passwords when signing in sort of high-risk activities. We then have the sort of in-tune device management. So this is where now you need in the next phase you need to enroll devices into that management and begin protecting these sort of more sophisticated controls. So this includes sort of device compliance, and tracking device compliance within devices. And there's policy enforcement around zero trust and policy evaluation. So now we're trying to add zero trust to the device. Making sure we protect the sort of compliance of the device as well. And here we can see with devices enrolled into sort of management, you can now implement sort of implement those zero trust policies on the device. So that includes again requiring MFA when the sign-in risk is low, medium or high, requiring make sure you've got approved apps on the device, making sure that the apps the devices are compliant, making sure you enforce policies with Intune, and again, especially those configuration and compliance policies as well. Again, we obviously need to protect and govern sensitive data. That's kind of key. So it's important, first of all, to know your data. And Microsoft Purview information protection is going to help you to sort of discover, classify, and protect sensitive information wherever it kind of lives or travels. And Purview capabilities are included within sort of give you sort of tools that allow you to know your data, protect your data, and prevent data loss. And as we see in this diagram, those sort of three aspects. While this work is sort of represented at the sort of top of the deployment stack, you can begin with this sort of at any point. And Purview information protection is going to provide you with that framework processing capability you can use to accomplish your sort of specific business objectives as well. So making sure you can classify identifiable sensitive information across your sort of hybrid environment. You can use things like sensitivity labels to make the sensitivity label of items visible to admins and users, and apply those to protect your data, and then apply consistent policies as well to detect risky user behavior as well. So very powerful tool, and again we can probably take a look at Purview as we go along in this series a bit more. So that's the end of topic 9. We looked at two-part episode, two-part topic, and now in the demo we're actually going to look at onboarding devices into Defender for Endpoint. So let's go back into the Defender XDR portal. Welcome back. We are back in the Defender for Cloud, or Defender for XDR platform, which used to be the Microsoft Defender 365 platform. It's the same platform. But we kind of had a bit of an overview of the platform and the portal earlier in the last demo. I now actually want to go down to settings, because I really want to look at onboarding, how we can onboard devices. So here's where we've got the settings. We've actually got portal settings, XDR settings, endpoint settings, is what we want to look at. We've also got somewhere in here you should have identity settings as well. I'm not sure where that's vanished to. But yeah, I should have identity settings somewhere. See, it shows me that environment is not protecting it. Why is that? 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. We are here in the Microsoft Defender XDR portal again. Last demo we had a bit of an overview of all the different aspects, all the Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Identities, etc., Defender for email and collaboration. Just give an overview of what they do and some of the settings you can configure and some of the available tabs in the dashboard. I actually want to look at settings now. Go down to settings. I actually want to look at the different. So two things I want to look at is endpoints and identities. But as you can see here in the settings, we can look at general settings for the Defender portal, for the Defender XDR part of it. Endpoints we're going to look at in a second. Email collaboration. We've got identities which we're actually going to look at after that. Device discovery as well. Cloud apps and Microsoft Sentinel. So in the endpoints piece, we're going here. Tells us information around the endpoints, some of the settings we can, about licensing, email notifications, auto remediation, the permissions as well. Obviously, each aspect of Defender XDR has its own permissions. CM integration, so we could integrate it with Sentinel or any third-party CM if we wanted. Sorry. What I'm actually want to kind of look at is onboarding. This is how we onboard. So when you first come into this platform, you need to onboard your first device. I've obviously done that already, but what I want to look at and show you is the different operating systems that support, because this might come up in the exam. So it supports Windows 10, 11, Windows 7 SP1 to 8.1, Windows Server 2008 R2 SP1, 2012 R2 and 16, 2019 and 22 as well. So quite a few of the operating systems. Again, each depending on what operating system you select, it will have a different methodology of onboarding, which we'll take a look at. Also, it supports macOS, Linux OS, iOS, Android, and Windows Subsystem for Linux 2 plugin. So, for example, the most common Windows 10 and 11, if I go there, first of all, it tells me that I've already onboarded my first device, which is fine. You may not have that ticked until you onboard your first device. With Windows 10 and 11, it does give you an option to select a connectivity type, if it's streamlined or standard. It tells you some information around that. And then it gives you the deployment methods. As you can see, you can either do a local script if you've got up to 10 machines, or you can use group policy if they're domain joined, or you can use SEC, what used to be SECM is now Config Manager. Here it has it down as Endpoint Configuration Manager, but it's now Microsoft Config Manager, what used to be SECM. Or you can use Intune, or you can use VDI onboarding scripts if you've got VDI, RDS maybe, or Citrix maybe, or AVD. Now, if I go and change that to say 2008, straight away you can see that the streamlining option's not there, and the instructions are totally different. So you've got to onboard it. It's a totally different way. So again, depends on what operating system it is. And if I go to macOS as well, again, this is more up to the OS, even though it's not Windows. It does have the streamlined option, but from a deployment perspective, it only has Intune or local script. So again, it very much depends on what devices you want on board, all right? And the same with offboarding as well. There's a script you can use for offboarding, okay? You download that and you can deploy that to your devices as well. So again, it depends what, use that. There's different ways you can offboard. Again, you can use group policy or local scripts or Intune. So the other setting I wanted to look at as well was identity. So here's where we can onboard domain controllers. Now I've done this already, so I don't know why it's preparing it for the first time. Well, essentially here's where you can download. This is not created because security group name already exists. Okay, let's delete the existing security. Forget that, I'll do that later. Forget that. The point is, essentially here, what you should be able to do, this demo going wrong, you should be able to download the agent and you install that on your domain controller. And what happens then when you go to identities and you go to the dashboard or health issues, you can actually normally see the domain controller here. For whatever reason, mine is not playing ball today, so I do apologize. But yeah, essentially within settings, you go to identities, and here you should then be able to see all the settings. Similar settings that we saw with Endpoint. You can download an agent, deploy that on your domain controller, and then when you install that, that'll onboard into Defender for Identity, and you should be able to see that. So yeah, I did want to try and show that in a bit more detail, but unfortunately I can't. But hopefully you've seen how to onboard devices, different types of devices you can onboard in Endpoint, Defender for Endpoint, different operating systems that are supported. So again, I suggest you have a play with that, onboard a domain controller, onboard some devices. I'll put the link URL to the setting to the Microsoft Learn Docs and how to onboard a domain controller, so you can see that and follow that as well. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We're aiming for 20k by the end of the year. And yeah, this is I think this is the end of topic. Yeah, this is the last episode in topic 9. So it was 2 parts. So we've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So we've got 5 more topics to do. So still a good 15 videos at least, 15 to 20 videos coming up. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for support. Thank you for all the great feedback. And until next time, thank you and goodbye.